and then sort of go into challenge process support. All right, so quick updates. Number one, we had, so for the infrastructure and non-deployment side of things, we received what we hope to be the last round of curing comments and instructions from NTIA on the state's BEAD Initial Proposal Volume 2, which is just fancy federal talk for the infrastructure and non-deployment grant plan. Okay, how we're going to operate that later this year. And so again, I think it's our third round. We submit our plans in, they go through it, they find things that we need to tweak from their perspective. They send it back to us with comments. We read through those. And we have to go in and then tweak the document after some internal discussion and strategy and send it back to them. And that's happened 3 times now. So we're in the process of sending back our third round responses to them. And we hope that it may be the last back and forth that we have with them. So we're excited about that. We think we're very close to getting approval on our Volume 2 document, which is tremendous. We may be one of the first few states to actually receive approval on that document. So we're really, really excited there. As for the Digital Skills and Opportunity Plan, we have received word internally, but it is not, as far as I'm aware, has not hit the press yet. Waiting for the federal government to announce first, and then we should announce right after them that our Digital Skills and Opportunity Plan has been approved and accepted by U.S. Commerce, NTIA. So we're really excited about that. And you should see that announcement come out in the press in the next few business days, we think. As we said at the top of the call, for our ABLN calls, normally they're every 2 weeks for you, but because we're in the midst of this challenge process with the new state broadband map, we're going to have these every Friday from now to at least through that first phase, which is April 18th. So the next several weeks, we'll have calls every Friday for you. And then we'll go back to probably the every other week schedule once we're out of that first phase of the challenge process. Second, quick updates for everyone. We're in the midst of the second annual kind of Broadband County Roadshow, getting around the state and spreading the word about what's happening. This week, on Tuesday, we were up in Northeast Arkansas in Clay, Greene, and Lawrence counties. Yesterday, we were over in Carroll, Washington, Benton, and Madison counties. We've seen really good crowds so far, really good outreach happening. We've had really good conversations. And people bring up some really good points. And so as that happens, we're taking notes in real time and trying to come back with you with updates and more additional things that you need. And so it's great that we're doing this next week. We'll be in Union on Thursday. We'll be in Union, Calhoun, Ouachita, and Nevada counties on Thursday. Let's see, Philip, looks like you're with us. So this is a new kind of, I think we started last week with this, and when we have our ABLN calls moving forward, we're going to give an opportunity for Philip Powell, who's our NTIA representative for Arkansas, provide updates from the federal government, and we'll turn it over to Philip.
Thank you, Glenn. Good morning, everyone. I do not have any new updates for y'all this week. As Glenn mentioned, Arkansas is almost there with their Volume 2. And so we're close there on the finish line, and everybody's doing a great job with the challenge process. And I'm excited to see how it goes in Arkansas. The challenge process is, I've had the opportunity to travel a little bit, and I'm pleased with how everybody is really excited about it and wants to get involved. So I think that'll be another example of how Arkansas will be in the top 10 when this challenge process is done. And but that's all I have for y'all today. And as always, you can always reach out to me, and feel free to ask me any questions. But yeah, thank you, Glenn. I'll hand it back over to you.
All right, thanks, Philip. I had to update something real quick on the presentation that I forgot to add in, so I went and added that real quick, and we're back. Thanks, Philip, and we look forward to hearing from you weekly now when we have these calls. Moving forward, we're going to go right into the challenge process, look at the timeline quickly, and then look at some stats, and then go to some updates from our partner in this process, Michael Baker International, also Lane. We'll have some updates for you as well. Quickly, we're in the midst of this first 30 days Kenny, you want to mute? Thanks. And in the midst of our challenge process right now, the highlighted green portion is our challenge phase. Started Wednesday of last week through April 18th. And again, this is the most critical time of the challenge process for you, our everyday stakeholders and our county committees. And so we're going to have these calls moving forward. The rebuttal phase that you see is ISP dependent, our adjudication phase where our team has to go and then decipher things and make decisions is tentative. If we receive 100,000 locations are all challenged on April 18th, it is highly, highly unlikely that we would begin that next rebuttal phase the very next day. It would take our team, at least maybe a week or so if we get a heavy volume of challenges in at the last minute to kind of sift through that before we would move to the rebuttal phase. So I just want to note that the rebuttal phase of this, the adjudication phase of this that you see on the screen are tentative, depending upon the volume of challenges that come in very late. Okay, so with that, if challenges, if you have them ready to go, and in this process, you don't necessarily, let's not wait till April 18th, right? If you have things that you're ready to hit the button on as an eligible challenger, or for the general public is doing speed tests and so forth, we should be doing that now, right? Let's try not to wait until the very end, okay? And not don't gamble with anything. As of this morning, some quick stats. As of 8 a.m., we've had 129 official challenger registrations, okay, across the state. We've had almost 4,000 speed tests performed to date, okay? So the process is working. Of those close to 4,000 speed tests, which we may be over now, it's been a few hours. We have close to 2,900 unique addresses. So we've had over 1,000, but at least, technically looking at the stats, a lot of those folks have done it more than once, right? Which is what needs to happen. And so that's a good sign as well. We've had 50 resident corrections using the resident correction tool, which is fantastic. 82 official challenges so far, covering over 3,200 locations. Okay, so the process is working, and we're really excited about that. Okay, I want to turn it over to Michael Baker for a quick update from a challenge perspective. Again, knowing that this is our broader stakeholder group, not our ISPs specifically, which was on a prior call, but this is our broader stakeholder group consisting of traditionally our county committees, nonprofits, local elected officials, those types of eligible challengers, and other folks that are helping the broader general public do suggest their corrections. And so with that as the context, I want to turn it over to Michael Baker real quick.
Thanks, Glenn. Happy to be here this morning. Challenge process is going very well. It's great to see that we have had over, I think Glenn's statistics said 40 units of local government that have registered. But I do want to encourage you, if you're on this call, to reach out to your constituents and let them know that you are able to submit challenges on their behalf. And if they don't, maybe they didn't know that. So that's something you can do. And there's still plenty of time. Okay. So even though we don't want you waiting until the last day, we've got a good solid week and a half that you can get in there and make some really good challenges. And, if there are no challenges, that's fine too. The purpose is to refine and correct the map. But I'm sure that there are a lot of people that you are hearing from that say, hey, I don't have good internet. I'm underserved, which is a category, or there's no service in my area. Direct them to, they can submit a challenge through their local unit, judge group, county. There's all sorts of people that qualify. Oh, sharing the wrong screen there. There we go.
Go to the homepage. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So they can go to the homepage. They can submit a speed test. One of the things that you do want to encourage them is if they're submitting speed tests to make sure that they follow the directions, because there is 3 speed tests that they do have to do. But so far, everything's looking good. I would also encourage you to log in, if you haven't yet, create a registration for yourself And then if you are having trouble, you can reach out to Lane, and then we will find out if you need a one-on-one. People can walk you through it. And there is a way that you can see speed test challenges and availability challenges that have been submitted in your area. So if you missed one of the sessions, a couple weeks ago where Lane walked us through that, I know that their office is available for one-on-ones. Michael Baker is here to help you with one-on-ones, but there's a lot of opportunities still out there. Evan, I'm not sure if any of the information you shared this morning with the ISP group is applicable here. Do you feel that it is, and did you want to share it, or?
Yeah, if I can just touch on it real quick, just those three items here.
So, and go ahead and introduce yourself to the group if they don't know who you all are already, and walk them through just your tips and tricks for the challenge process.
Sounds good. Thank you, Julie. My name is Evan Rubin. I'm a GIS analyst with Michael Baker. I'm on Julie's team here and assisting with the challenge process. I wanted to share just 3 notes and observations I've noticed from the first week here. Item 1, please use that user resource guide that is on the broadband.arkansas.gov. And the reason I say this is because if a user submits a challenge, and let's say that they're we just need a little more evidence or explanation as to what they are challenging, or the type of evidence they're admitting here, that will often point to a specific page number or a specific bullet point, and will reference this document here. So I just wanted to note that today. Item number 2, and this is mainly for some of the larger challenges, which we haven't seen too many of, but we might get some in the next few weeks. For larger challenges, consider writing a summary Word document or a summary sheet that explains a quick narrative of what you're challenging. If you have 5 or 6 pieces of individual evidence, documents, etc., consider adding a little explanation about what each document is. Document 1 is a screenshot of XYZ. Document 2 is a screenshot of this over here. So a quick summary sheet would be helpful. It's not required, but certainly helpful for some of the larger challenges. And then item 3, as a general rule of thumb, the more evidence that you can put into the portal, the better, and it will increase the likelihood of your challenge being accepted, as more of a general rule of thumb, especially for those larger challenges. So yeah, those are my 3 items here. Just look at that challenge user resource guide on the broadband.arkansas.gov. Number 2, consider making a quick summary sheet, especially for those larger challenges. And then number 3, as a general rule of thumb, the more evidence you can put in, the better, and it'll increase the likelihood of your challenge moving on. And that's all I had, Julie.
Thank you, Evan. That's all we have for now, Glenn.
All right. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Evan. Let's go to Lane, our deputy director of our team, the best deputy director in the country by far. And we'll let Lane take a moment here.
Thanks, Glenn. Good morning, everybody. We did find a step in the challenge process, a possible step in the process that was frustrating for a lot of challengers. And that is when the system kicks back saying that your challenge needs revisions. The system was just sending a very brief email letting you know that your challenge needed revisions, and it didn't give you any direction on what to do after that. So we've opened a ticket to change the language of that email. Should one of your challenges be moved to that status where it needs revisions, you need to go back into the portal and click on that challenge, and then our Evan's team and Julie's team are very, very good about when they request revisions, they give you detailed instructions on what additional documentation they're looking for, what part of the user guide to reference for more information. The revision requests are very detailed, but the email that the system was spitting out was too basic. So we're going to update that language of the email to let you know that you need to go log in to the system and click on your challenge, and then you will see the instructions and the comments and the suggestions that you need to complete that revision. So I know that was frustrating for some of you, and I appreciate you letting us know so that we could update the process and the messaging. So appreciate that, and that'll be resolved shortly. I want to break down the numbers of registrants we've had in the challenge portal. I think Glenn showed we have about 129 folks have registered. I'm going to break that down. About 44 of those are local government challengers, 57 are ISPs, and 28 are nonprofits. Now, those are individual registrants. When you break it down by organization or unit of local government, it's only 26 units of local government, some counties, some cities. So with a state with 75 counties and 500 plus cities, we're only at 26. So if you know anybody who is in this area and has not registered and does not know about the process, please have them reach out to me and or reach out to the broadband office in general, broadband.arkansas.gov. Touch base with us. We'll get you registered and get you working. So yeah, we just continue to want to make those contacts with you, make this as easy as possible, give you as much information as possible. But if you could help us spread the word that we've got a really short time frame here, and the work that you are doing is so vital, making sure we connect every Arkansan. So there's a little plea for more communication to help us out. Let's connect the unconnected. Second thing I would like to say is the speed test data we're getting is so valuable to this process. And the more people we can send to do tests, speed tests from our website, it's actually absolutely vital to this process. You can't test too much. All right, there can't be too much test data. So please tell all your citizens, especially those who lived in served locations, test. And we'll all be better off for it. So with that, Glenn, I'm ready to turn it back over to you.
All right, thanks, Lane, for that. And yeah, as he said, a call for additional challengers. Please help us on that front. Something that just kind of occurred to me while he was saying that. What, if you're an eligible challenger and you have registered, it would probably be beneficial and help us if you would reach out to your counterpart in your neighboring counties, right? So whichever counties surround you and have a similar role as you within the counties that are your neighbors, let's give them a call if you can. Please email them, call them, let them know this is happening, and encourage them to become an eligible challenger in this process. Refer them to us, and we will help them get registered and up to date as quick as possible. Two things I wanted to cover that I didn't put on the board this morning, but I have thought about as the presentation has happened today. Two things. So one is, I know last week we had a request for sort of an updated graphic with a little more detail. After an intensive week of back and forth discussion with our team, we are going to tweak the flyer and graphic that we had produced earlier with a minor addition at the bottom of that, with one more step for folks. directing them to the suggested correction tool. Okay. Again, for 99.9%, and we had this discussion yesterday in Carroll County, for 99.9% of challengers, it's very simple. It is going to the map again, looking at their location, what color is the dot. If it's gray and you disagree, use the correction tool. That is 99.9%, and we have to manage for the rule, not that 0.1%, but we'll do our best. And so we're gonna, after much debate, we're gonna tweak the graphic, add an extra instructional line at the bottom that directs them to the suggested correction tool. That's available on the website. That'll be available later today. We're also going to put out all of our graphic material, including the one that's updated. We're going to put that on our website. So we're going to link those on the homepage at the same location where everything else is. So in that same lineup, we're going to add links to those documents today. So it'll make it easy. You don't have to go back and forth in email. It's just there. You click it, take it, spread the word. Okay. So those were going to be the two updates that I was going to give that weren't on the deck before we go to general discussion. So with that, let me check the chat box, see what we've got. I'll read through those real quick, and then we'll go to hands. If people have anything, well, let's check the chat box first. So Pam, let's see, Andrew, if you could help. Oh, wait, you did. Okay. I know Pam was trying to unmute a little earlier and had some issues, and I think Andrew fixed that. And so if we have anything and you prefer to type it in, you can do that for us. If you prefer to go ahead and speak, we can do that too. So we'll open up the floor for folks. And again, it can be about anything, but we know there's going to be a lot of questions, or we would expect a lot of questions regarding the challenge process. So that's what we're here for.
Hey, Glenn. Bob Largent.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Good. Were you able to get any clarification on how folks who have Windstream bills can get a copy of their bill?
Sure. So for folks that so for the folks where a traditional bill that they are receiving is not showing the speed tier package that they are subscribed to, I know broadly speaking, look, the ISP should be able to provide the customer with some sort of document. Okay. We have a typed up couple of options for folks that traditionally show where those things are. So we'll make sure that in the follow-up communication that comes out today on this, we include, there's like 5 or 6 bullet points about where most times that speed tier package information is across different platforms from any one ISP. So we'll get that out to you today as well. But broadly, Bob, they're going to have to reach out to the provider for some sort of document that'll show that and attach that as part of the.
Yeah. Again, I spent probably an hour with folks at Windstream and could never get it. Ever.
Okay. I will call
Talk
some
to
of
David
my
Avery.
Yeah, I'm going to call a couple of folks directly.
Yeah, call David.
That are Windstream.
I did everything but call him.
I will give him a shout after the call.
Thanks.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate that. Go ahead.
Hey, one other. Were you able to find out if the judge can appoint folks to work as a challenger?
Mm-hmm. So from our understanding, NTIA is being very nitpicky on this. Okay. So the registration that's in our system needs to read in the name of the judge in that case. Okay. Now,
okay. Right.
What he or she chooses to do in the comfort of their office, who am I to say? Right. But the registration itself needs to run through, if it's a judge, his name or her name. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now that doesn't mean you can't have lunch with said individual in the office and you guys, All right, let's go back to the chat box. Okay, my Amanda is saying, and just to be clear, this is to clear that gray areas are served appropriately in consideration for grant funding to the broadband service providers. This does not entail grant funding to the cities or counties, correct? So Amanda, so yes, in the BEAD program specific to infrastructure, our office will award grants directly to ISPs to go and build out high-speed internet for folks or upgrade what they have. So the grant funds would flow to the ISPs to get that done. And if that answers kind of the question you were having, let us know. And if not, we can just clarify for us and we'll take another stab at it. Carla says, for colleges and universities that are not CAIs on the map, what USAC number or ID number is required to challenge the building types? I'll read it again. So for colleges and universities that are not CAIs on the map, what USAC number or ID number is required to challenge the building type? I am going to have to throw that to Lane and or Julie and or Evan to assist with that question.
This is Julie. I do not know, Lane or Evan.
Each higher education institution does have a unique USAC number. Besides just Googling it or contacting the institution for that number, I don't know of an easy way to obtain it. Evan, if you've got any experience helping folks through this particular type of challenge, love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. And Carla, do you want to expand real quick before Evan?
Sure.
answers?
Now, I did some
Okay.
Googling, and what I found, all I saw, I mean, it looks like the simple USAC number is K through 12. I couldn't find anything associated with higher ed, and I used to work in institutional research. So there are numbers that the Arkansas Division of Higher Education uses to identify institutions. They call it a FICE code, though I don't think those are used nationally anymore. There are other numbers, but they're not strictly USAC numbers. Now, some of the colleges and universities that we serve have rural healthcare numbers issued by USAC, but that's not true for all the locations that I'll need to challenge. So I'm assuming it can't be the rural healthcare number. I mean, maybe it is.
Let's see. Is Evan still?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to walk and with her, just for context, maybe walk through the general process of challenging the CAI, that number
I'm
4
just gonna-
category?
Yeah, for Carla, are you in this instance you're considering submitting a location is a CAI, correct?
Yes, there are some institutions that not all their campus buildings are. Some of their campus buildings are business or residential or group quarters, and they need to be part. They're part of campus. So that's what I'm challenging.
Understood. Yeah, if you can click on that specific location, as close as possible, and submit that particular challenge, and within your narrative, within your evidence, if there is a discrepancy between the specific BSL location, the address, and where the address should be, if the CAI is off, you can write a little Word document explaining that. As far as the specific number codes, I'll need to follow up on that item with you.
Okay, that's the part that's tripping me up
yeah.
because it says it's required, and I don't have a number to put there. I've got several locations across the state, but I'm holding them till we have an answer.
All right, I'm furiously looking into it right now and looking into. I want to trace that requirement all the way back to its source, and then we will go from there, and we will issue guidance. And Carla, we will reach out to you directly, as well as offering broad guidance once we have thorough guidance that'll be helpful to all of us. Get that out as soon as possible.
Thank you. It's most of the public colleges and universities across the state. So if you fix it once,
Yeah,
it'll make it
absolutely.
easier for both of us.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this up. We'll get to the bottom of it.
Okay, thanks, Carla, and thanks, team. And again, not only reach out to Carla, but we will distribute that information to everyone for everyone's awareness once we have it, hopefully very quickly. Pam, on the speed, and again in the chat box on the speed test page, when it refers to uploading documentation, it has optional as a user. I assume those aren't required to upload documents. Since it had optional on the screen, also, will the suggested ways to find your ISP speed be added somewhere online so the resident can see it. So to the first part of the question, I will bring up the speed test tool real quick. So as this runs, I'm going to get to a checklist. You're talking here, Pam, and
Yes.
you're right. So it does say optional here. That is because we're, this speed tool is going to be available beyond just the challenge process. This is going to be something that we use moving forward as a program to help check things and be available for folks. That's why it currently says optional. Lane, do you want to touch on that briefly?
Sure, Glenn. Yeah, this is a little difficult because we're trying to balance this tool being available for everybody for all purposes, and it being a tool that collects necessary data to create good speed test challenges. So we do talk about, please upload your evidence, a statement, invoice, what have you, because that will help with the challenge process. We were afraid if we didn't drop the word optional in there, we would scare people off who just wanted a speed test and not have to go through, they were just curious about their speeds, were not considering a challenge. So yeah, the wording is the best we could come up with. So we need, any way we can, if you are conducting a speed test for the purposes of challenging the status of your location on the map, we really need that evidence. And Glenn, it's just one of those difficult communication choices we just had to make, and we're open to input.
Okay.
Well,
And Pam, go ahead, Pam.
As a user, the first time I did my speed test, when I saw optional, I immediately said, oh, I don't have to put that in there because it's not required. And so I didn't. And so I see that we may get a lot of speed tests that don't have that in there because they see that word. You on this call, we understand the explanation, but the typical resident that goes in to do the speed test can easily see that and just assume that, oh, I don't have to do that. That's just the fear that I see happening.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think once this runs, and again, for those who haven't seen this before, our speed test tool will run 4 different speed tests within this one, 4 different offerings of it. And so as this happens, we'll look at it in a second. Pam, I'm going to circle back to this because I'm going to go back into the correction tool and go through the speed test option there just to see what happens, and we'll do it in real time. Okay. When you get to the end of the speed test, there is this email, enter your email address option. If you do this, the system will automatically send emails to remind folks to go back and do speed tests again. Okay, it does say take the test once per day for the next 7 days. That's purposeful. If we ask for 7, hopefully we get 3, right? And again, the system will remind folks, but it's going to have, you can see all 4 that have been run. It's got the averages at the top, but you've got, actually not averages, different stuff. But you have MLab, you have Cloudflare, you have speedtest.net, and then an in-house with our partner, Ready, working on this. I'm going to go to the suggest a correction tool. All right, because remember, the whole concept is what we told folks. Step 1, go to the state broadband map. Step 2, enter their address. I'm going to do mine real quick. Step 3, what color is your dot? For instance, it's gray, right? When I do that and I click on my location on the left-hand side, this will always change on the left-hand side depending upon what dot. Each time you go to a different location, the information will change. It'll tell you the service that is supposed to be available for you, okay, on the left-hand side and the different providers. But if I disagreed, right, I don't think I'm marked as gray, which indicates in theory that I have good service, but I disagree with that. That's when I would suggest a correction, right, as an everyday Arkansan. So I would go back and put my address. Click on my location. And then start my process. So next, and let's say I disagree with speed. Okay. It tells you part of what we're doing, we require 3 speed tests on 3 different days. Click here to take performance test from your location and set up reminders, take additional tests. Once you've collected your tests, proceed with completing the speed, comment below. Here it takes us back to the speed test to have you run it, right? Back. It's only going to give you the options that you can challenge, right? So there are providers at my location at home that do not offer 120 or higher. They won't be listed. The only ones that you could challenge are the ones that are offering 120 or higher, okay? Select the one you're subscribed to. In this case, we have AT&T, the house, the only option there, fiber to the premises, so on. Okay, now the speed test tool itself, we'll have that. There is a place here to upload your documentation that proves what you are subscribed to. So that's part of the process for us. So it's there, but I agree, Pam, that it's not the easiest. It's not super easy, and we appreciate that fact. This is a hard thing, but we're all working very hard at this. But we do appreciate the concern, and I think just to verify, Pam, that second part of your question is specific to what we talked about earlier, having kind of 5 or 6 ways that folks can traditionally find the ISP speed package. Is that what you were asking about on that second half of the question?
Yes.
Okay, so I made a note of that. We will put that on here as well. So in addition to the flyers that we have available to help spread the word on this, we will also include those traditional ways of how you can find your speed test information. Well, your speed tier package information. Okay, we'll add that as well, and also send it to everyone on this call after.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey,
I
Julie.
have something real quick.
Yeah.
Evan is going to be putting some instructions in the chat going back to the USAC number, and I think it'll be helpful. It's basically saying that if you follow the other directions, you actually shouldn't need that number in order to put in a challenge. It should be accepted. So he'll go ahead and put that in there.
Okay, thanks, Julie. And Andrew, we'll make sure that
Thank you.
we take that and add it into our post-call communication. that goes out. Monica, do you have updates on the zones being available? Lane, you want to touch on the zone issue?
Sure, Monica, and thanks for the question. We, rather than making all the zones available to all users, for what we've done is add the ability to add your own zones county by county. That was the best approach based on our available tools. So I'm going to walk through real quick how to do that.
Stop sharing. Okay.
A chance to share. Just a moment. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sharing the challenge portal. To add a zone, go to zones here on the left. Create a zone. You can give it a name. I'm going to create Perry County. And I'm going to drop down here to define zone boundaries. Instead of drawing one or uploading a shapefile, hit select from library. This is new. Select from library. The only state you can select is Arkansas. And then your boundary type. Now these are all publicly available boundary types. Rural cooperative areas, county, city, local telephone company, and congressional district. And we'll be adding to this state house districts and senate districts and others. But you would select county. And this is driving me crazy. They're not listing our counties in alphabetical order, but that we got a ticket in for that to fix that. So what did I say? Perry County? Right now, until we get it alphabetized, you're just going to have to scroll through until you find the county you want to create. Once you got it, you hit OK. And then save zone. Now, I know this seems like a lot. It's a software issue, and this is the best workaround right now. And if you need more instruction on how to do this, don't hesitate to reach out to me. But you'll see now that I've got Perry County as a zone. And if you're working the whole state, you can do this 75 times, or you could just do the counties you're particularly interested in. And of course, every time you click on a zone, it'll sum up all the data for that zone, all the status of all the locations there. So that's our process right now.
Yeah, thanks, Lane. I think we can type up a brief bullet point, kind of 1, 2, 3 step for this that we can send out to the folks as well. So we'll work on that too. Let me get that back here. And let's see. And so, Carla, I think you gave a thumbs up to Evan's response on the USEC number issue, but we'll also include that in our communication after the call. Monica's asking if we can add census block groups, CBGs, to the zone option. I think we'll have to check on that, Lane.
That's a great question, and I can see how that could be helpful for a number of ways. So I'll find out. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, Monica. So we'll find out on that and try to get that to you, or an update at least on if that's possible, what the time frame would look like on that for everyone. And this is why we do these calls. Good stuff. Continuing to improve the process. asking. Okay. Well, again, the floor is open. The chat box is available. If anyone has anything, feel free to unmute and ask a question or provide a comment.
I do have one more quick question.
Let's see, Pam?
Yes, I have
Okay.
one little question.
Sure.
So in the process, is it better for them to go do the speed test first and then the challenge, or do the challenge and then the speed test?
Mhm.
Is
If
there
they, sure,
preferred?
and if the team, wants to follow up if I misspeak on this, I don't know that it particularly matters. So if they utilize the speed test option straight away and do it 3 times, and in one of those 3 times, upload kind of documented proof, right, of what they're subscribed to, I think that's fine. Team, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Okay, so basically they could do either or. They could do the
Sure.
correction,
Yeah, the correction will
the
link them
challenge
back.
first,
The
then the speed
correction,
test.
yeah,
Okay.
the correction will link them back to the speed test.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
That's good. That's good.
yeah.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Hey
Let's
Glenn, this
see.
is Evan Rubin here
Hey,
from
Evan, go ahead.
Michael Baker. There was
Sure.
a note there about census block groups. There is on the dev, well, I can share the dev environment just real quick. There is a
Okay.
boundary for the census block groups, but it's not within the zones tab. It's just within it's a general optional background you can view. I don't think I can share my screen on this meeting, but I just wanted to
Okay.
note that it is on the challenge map as a item you can turn on and off.
Yeah, and we'll work to see if we can add it as its own option and try to get that answer quickly for folks. But thanks, Evan. Let's see, Jeff, is this PowerPoint something you can share with me or let me know how to pull it down? Yeah, so following, and there, Andrew, good job. Yeah, so Andrew put in the chat box. So what happens once we have these calls later in the day, after the call, we always send up a follow-up communication, and we include the PowerPoint presentation as part of that follow-up communication that everyone receives via email. You're welcome. Okay, well, as always, email us, call us, text us. Let us know how we can be helpful to you. Again, this is our mission. In addition to everything that we do as far as making our broadband programs work, we're here to help you and make you be successful in your endeavors. And so let us know how we can do that. Everyone have a Good Friday and a happy Easter weekend. And we will see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.